So there is a real question as to where do you do your pickpocketing? Is this something that you're thinking about to do as a stage act, or is this going to be a close-up piece? These are different environments, and the way that you handle them is, by definition, different also. If you're on stage, there are some great benefits. One of them being is that your spectators are quite often rabbits in the headlights. While you might be comfortable on a stage with the lights on you and the audience in front of you, for a lot of people, this is the most terrifying environment imaginable. And getting people up on stage, bringing them into your zone, into your sphere, does have some sort of social compliances that are beneficial to you as a stage performer. Within this context, there are some downsides too. The very act of putting together a stage, performance means that you are fixed to um, kind of choreographed moves, not really being able to jazz as much as you might do in other environments, fitting into the context of a show. Uh, you know, my personal preference, if I'm entirely honest, is close-up pickpocketing. One of the other reasons why stage can sometimes be a bit funny is I think that audiences, certainly in my opinion, audiences quite often can rule out some pickpocketing as being stooged when it's on stage. If you're in a large room full of people and the performer picks a few people to go up on stage, you don't know who they are. Maybe there's a degree of suspicion. When you bring pickpocketing into a close-up environment or into a street environment, you lose that problem almost entirely because the person you're working with, the audience is surrounding you, everybody can see what's going on, they know the person personally, they're not going to see him as being a stooge, they can tell that the reactions are true and are real. My preference is therefore to work in a close-up setting, but these techniques on the DVD, on this DVD, look how old I am. These techniques on this online training will cover sort of the basis of everything that you need to know. So whether you want to develop a stage presence or whether you want to work in close-up, the basic techniques are always going to be the same. The fundamentals are always there. As I said, my preference is close-up. I think there is something really wonderfully organic about just being able to go out into the street or into your close-up show and start to add in little elements of pickpocketing here and there. With close-up as well, the mix between magic or mentalism and pickpocketing is much more clearly definable. Just to give you an idea, one of the things I've always loved doing is using the skill as a pickpocket to steal maybe a wallet out of somebody's pocket. It gives me the opportunity to quickly peek some information, personal information. Even a photograph of somebody will tell you a lot about their personal life, their wife, what she looks like, how she dresses, maybe even the jobs that their friends do. There's a lot of information held within a wallet. If you can take that out, memorize a couple of pieces of information and put it back without them knowing, and this, by the way, is much easier when you're in a close-up environment, maybe doing table hopping at a corporate event, because pretty much everybody's got their backs to you anyway. That information becomes invaluable. You are now able to do some direct mind reading. You can reveal personal details to somebody in an impossible manner. And to my experience, nobody's ever really backtracked it to how it was done. Nobody's ever thought, well, maybe he stole my wallet, read the information and put it back. Partly because I don't think men really know what's in their wallets most of the time. I mean, nowadays I carry a phone wallet, but a few years ago I had my own wallet that I carried around with me. And when I transitioned from one wallet to the next one, it was almost an adventure going through the wallet and seeing the bits and pieces I had in there and thinking, oh, I didn't remember this, or oh gosh, I thought I'd lost that a long time ago. So I don't think men are as certain about what they have in their wallets as maybe they'd like to think they are. This allows you to utilize your skill as a pickpocket to great effect in a close-up environment. The skills are slightly different. You've got to be aware of your angles in a different sense. If you're on stage, your audience is just in front of you, and your skill is about how to manage the person you're with, but at the same time as keeping good connections with your audience. When you're working close up, of course, it's different. Your freedom of movement is much greater. You can walk around people. You can turn your back to some of the spectators, and it's not deemed to be offensive anyway or unprofessional because it's a close-up environment, not a stage one. So, it's a bit of a yin and yang moment. There are some benefits to stage, and there are some benefits to close up. And you've got to really weigh up your own character, your own personality, and the kind of environments that you work in to decide which one suits you best. But essentially, the rules that you already apply to close up versus stage are pretty much the same rules that apply to separating these things out from the point of view of a pickpocket. Last thing I'll say about this, though, in my opinion, close-up is better because it just feels more real, more organic, more natural. You can do things close up. You can be a little bit more untidy. You can have a little bit more fun, and there's a bit more banter, and it's a bit more gritty and grainy. And I personally feel that kind of fits the style of pickpocketing that I like to adopt. I want it to look a little bit more street, a little bit more untidy around the edges. It's the style I choose to have with my magic and with my pickpocketing. I want it to feel a bit jazzed, a bit impromptu, a bit off the cuff. But that's my style. You have to pick your own, but hopefully all of this will come together for you. The psychological side, the technical side, and as you develop through this training course, you're going to enjoy stealing stuff. I mean, hey, who doesn't?